In today's video, I'm going to show you a critical step on my DIY autofocuser project. In this step I'm going to show you today is how to set the maximum and minimum limits of the throw of this telescope focuser that I built from scratch. So the procedure, even though I did mine by hand, this is the same type of procedure that you would use for a commercial focuser. And so what I'm using is Ekos. So this is an indie open source software for complete astrophotography control. So the procedure I'll show you is how to do it with this particular telescope, and you can apply that to yours as well. And so let's get started, and I'll show you how it works. So just a side note, if you want to see more about how I built this DIY focuser, check out my channel page. And then I will be releasing a video in the future showing it from the beginning to the end. But this has taken me several days and lots of iterations and working out bugs. But I'm really happy with the results. So let's get started. All right, now this step right here is critical. And what I'm going to show you is how to set the minimum and maximum total distance that this autofocuser can move for your particular stepping solution and your particular telescope. And this step must be done or else some bad things can happen. For one thing, it can go all the way in and just keep trying and trying and trying, and it might blow out the motor hat. It also might destroy something inside. It might blow out the motor. It might damage the telescope. Likewise, you need to have a maximum throw so that you don't take this all the way off and have something on the other end. So there are several ways you can do this. Now what I'm going to do is that you can find your maximum point manually. Okay, that's the maximum. So what I'm going to do is put a little mark here where I can see it coming, and then where it actually is. Okay, so the first one is like I'm getting close, and the second one is I'm already there. So we're going to do that later. The first thing you need to do is set the minimum point. So you need to manually take the telescope all the way down and then back off a smidge. I'm not taking mine to the absolute zero. Now here's how you do it in Ekos. This is the Indi control panel. And so over here on, let's see, we're going to go into the main control tab. And here's how this works. If you press this set button here on sync to some value, it will sync it to that point. And so what I want to do at this point is say I need the minimum that this can go to when it's all the way in. So this will be my 0 point right here. So we say set. Okay, that put its absolute position here at 0, and that is exactly what we want. Now the next step is to say what is the absolute maximum that can go. Now I know from experience that mine is 1,000, but let's say that you did not know that. You need to ease your way out. And how you ease your way out is to go into the Options tab. And then, let's see, I need to, where am I? Oh, I'm not on the focus mode. Okay, the options on the focus mode. And this is where you set your step travel size. Now, I would start out small, and then you go back and you focus out to see what it does. You see how far it moves. And so I'm going to set mine at let's say you set yours at 100, and then it's going to go out 100 steps. Okay, now when we go out, it'll go out 100 steps. So you can see we are at position 110. All right. Now that you have a good idea what this is, then you can go in here and then you can go a little quicker. So for example, let's go to 500 And this will move, in my particular scope, halfway. Now, like I said, you need to ease into it so that you don't damage anything, and you need to have the motor actually do the moving. So I'm going to go to 900 because I know I'm safe at 900. And now let's ease up. Let's do 950. Okay, let's try 975. Okay, I still don't see my marks. We'll go up to 1,000. Okay. Oh, it won't go past because I set my max position of 1,000. Okay, so let's set the maximum position a little bit higher. So I'm going to ease into this. I was wondering why that wouldn't work. And let's go to 1100 and see if we can see. Okay, there it is. That is the absolute maximum. There's the first green mark and the second one. So I'm going to go back down to 1,000. And then I'm going to adjust this to 1050 so that I'm just a little bit back. And then we need a decimal point. $10.50. Okay, now here's the minimum, here's the maximum, here's our current position. Now the next thing, so that is now protects this. So let's go over to the preset tab, and in the previously before I had done this calibration, because I've done this a couple of times, that 180 was at about this red mark right here, where this particular camera is approximately in focus. So let's go to preset number 1. And you can see that it missed it just a little bit because I've done this 2 or 3 times in preparation for this video. And so it moved just a little bit. And so what we want to do is maybe you want to fine tune where that is. Go back into motor control and take the, let's go to an absolute position of say 185 and see if we can get a little bit closer to where that mark is. Okay. $225. Now we'll go back to our presets and I will update this to 225. And then this is really handy because you don't have to remember now where your approximate focus position is because it's right here. And so now we are set to go. Now if in the future something happens and the telescope gets bumped, all you have to do is, and you turn it on and it starts acting crazy, maybe it doesn't go to where you think it should, it won't focus, simply take this back down to the 0 point and hit the sync 0 button and you are good to go. Because you've already determined the maximum and minimum throw that this could go, and you're not going to damage something with this in the event this got bumped or jiggled or something like that. Now for some reason it should be holding, the stepper mirror should be holding because I have this on, I thought I had it on park where it would actually hold it. Not quite sure why I'm even able to do this with my finger, but that's something that I can troubleshoot and update you in a later video. Alright, now there is one last thing that you need to do before you close and get out of this panel, is that you must go to Options and press Save. And if you do not, all kinds of crazy things will happen. What I've had happen is it will fire up and it'll try to go to position 7,000, or it will just do some bizarre things. And so you need to do that in order to save all of the information. And then as come to think of it, there's one further thing that you need to do, and that is that at the end of your session you need to go to the home position and then shut it off. Otherwise, what will happen is that when it fires back up, it loads the configuration and thinks it's at 0, and you could be in the middle and it's not really 0. So what I'm going to try to do is figure a way to write a script or something so that when at the end of a session, like if you go over here and you take a capture, let's close this. There are scripts that you can run, and so I might be able to write a script that will automatically park the focuser to 0 at the end of the session so that you won't have to remember that step. But so far I can't find any default setting that will take it to 0 at the end, so that when you fire it up, it is where it thinks it is, at 0. So bear that in mind when you start it up, and look at the position closely, because it might be something other than where it really is. And so that's all I have to say on that for now, and then I'll keep you updated in the future. So that gives you a good idea of how to set your limits in Ekos using the Indi drivers. So stay tuned for updates, and I'll show you more about this autofocuser in future videos.